As I sit here at my desk sharing this short idea about Pesach, I am saddened. I am saddened by the thought that I will not have the chance to deliver this idea to you in person over Yontif. I am saddened by the thought that I will not have a chance to see any of you over Yontif. But at the same time, I am smiling. I am smiling because I have been in touch with so many of you over the past few weeks. I am smiling because you have shown a tremendous amount of strength, courage, and faith as we go through this unprecedented time in our lives. And I'm smiling because I know that very soon I will once again be able to see each and every one of your smiles in person. When discussing the mitzvah of telling over the story of the Exodus from Egypt of Yetzias Mitzrayim on Seder night, the Mishnah in Psachim 116a tells us, Maschil beginus u'mesayim b'shevach. We begin with the negative and we end with the positive. There is a dispute in the Gemara as to what constitutes the negative and what constitutes the positive. Rav, he takes a broader approach. He says that the negative refers to mitchila ovdei avodah gilulim or avodah zara hayu avosenu. Originally, our ancestors were idol worshippers. And the positive? That's ve'achshav kervanu hamakom lavodaso. And now Hashem has brought us close to his service. Shmuel, well, he takes a more Pesach-specific approach. And he says that the negative is avadim hayinu, we were slaves to Paro. And the positive, that's vayotzienu, and Hashem took us out. Our version of the Haggadah, as we know, accommodates both views. The Or Chaim suggests that the requirement of maschil beginus u'mesayim b'shevach, the requirement that we begin with the negative and end with the positive, is learned from the very pasuk that commands us to tell over the story of the Exodus from Egypt on the Seder night. V'higadeto levincha bayom ahu lemor, and you shall tell your son on that day, saying. The Or Chaim points out that there are two different verbs used in the pasuk. First v'higadeta, and then lemor. First telling, and then saying. At Har Sinai, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe Rabbeinu, Ko somar leveis Yaakov v'sagid livnei Yisrael. Say to the house of Yaakov, and tell the children of Israel. Rashi points out that the first part of the pasuk is referring to Moshe speaking to the Jewish woman. To them, Hashem says, you shall tomar. You shall say the commandments in a mild form of speech. To the woman you are to express the commandments in a manner suited for their compassionate maternal nature. The second part of the pasuk, that's referring to Moshe speaking to the Jewish men. To them, Hashem says, you shall tagid, tell the commandments with firmness. To the men you are to express the commandments in a manner suited for their harsher paternal nature. V'higadeta levincha bayom ahu lemor. The Seder must begin with v'higadeta, with a harsh message, one of difficulty and negativity. And only then the Seder must lead towards lemor, a compassionate message, one of positivity. Now that we've found the source, the what, we must understand the why. Why is it necessary to recall all the negativity? Why must we recall our ancestors and that they were idol worshippers? Why must we remember that we were slaves to Paro? Why can't we just focus on the positive? Why can't we just talk about the fact that Hashem took us out of Egypt? Why not spend the entire Seder concentrating on how Hashem has brought us close to his service? Leonardo da Vinci once noted that the average person, quote, looks without seeing, listens without hearing, touches without feeling, eats without tasting, moves without physical awareness, and talks without thinking. And if that was true 5 centuries ago in Tuscany, it is certainly true today. It is to combat the nature of the average person that psychologists have suggested that modern man practice the art of comparative appreciation, whereby one compares and contrasts two different things in order to fully appreciate one or both of these things. When one listens to multiple versions of a musical composition, for example, or compares and contrasts 3 different dark chocolates, or 3 different wines, one's mind naturally attunes to the differences and to the similarities among them. One begins to notice greater subtleties, and one deepens their recall for the pleasurable experience. The reason that we must begin with the negative and only then mention the positive is because the nature of human beings is such that appreciation is a function of contrast, A person fully appreciates something only when they compare it to something else. Maschil beginus u'misayim b'shevach. We begin with the negative and we end with the positive. We must remember that originally our ancestors were idol worshippers. We must put ourselves back into the slavery conditions of Egypt. Only then can we fully appreciate that Hashem took us out of Egypt. And only then can we fully appreciate that Hashem has brought us close to His service. I am not qualified to answer the question of why. Why are we spending Pesach without our family and friends? Why will the bayit sit empty for this beautiful upcoming holiday? Why are so many of our precious brothers and sisters being taken away from us by this horrible virus? But I like to suggest one possible answer to the question of what. What can we take from the experience of these past 3 weeks? What lesson can we incorporate into our lives to make them more meaningful and more pleasurable? If there's one thing that we've had the ability to do over the last few weeks, it's the ability to compare and contrast. To compare and contrast that which we had but do not currently have, and to compare and contrast that which we did not have but currently have. To fully appreciate that which we had but do not currently have. To fully appreciate the family and friends whom we have not physically seen in almost a month. To fully appreciate the bayit and how central a role the physical being and building plays in our lives. To fully appreciate a sense of normalcy and the ability to do normal and regular things like going to school, work, or the park. And to fully appreciate that which we did not have but currently have. So much quality time with our immediate family, time to play together, time to learn together, and time to grow bonds like we've never done before. So much quality time with ourselves, time to think, time to read, and time to check in with ourselves in a meaningful and intimate way. Maschil beginus u'misayim b'shevach. We begin with the negative and end with the positive. May we use this opportunity to appreciate all of the wonderful things in our lives. May Hashem answer our prayers and bring an end to these challenging times. And may we be physically reunited with each other in Yerushalayim Ir HaKodesh, bimheira b'yameinu.